Intentions of this video get you to go from, oh, I avoid my money, to looking at your money at least once or twice a week, to subconsciously stop fearing money by consciously looking at what you fear. How to recognize money as a tool. To first get you to identify, accept the fact that you are a money avoidant. Let's talk about being a money avoidant. You don't feel safe with money. Your money beliefs suck because they're rooted in desperation, lack. You get me? Okay, you should be thinking about your money beliefs now. Go back to childhood, teenage. My problem was I hated not feeling secure within money. I hated that every time I went to check out, I started getting hot flashes and I started getting the bubble goods, and I was just buying something for $4. And I knew I had it. I was like, dang, I don't know when I'm gonna get it back. Should I even be buying this? That was my problem. So you got your problem. Now think about what you want. I was like, you know what? I want to feel safe going to the cashier. I want to feel safe buying something for $5. I want to feel safe buying something for $100. And know it's going to always come back because I set my life up for it to come back. Do you want to feel safe with money? Do you want to have different money beliefs? Okay, we're going to break this down in 3 tiers: external, internal, then we're going to get into solution. Cool? So external patterns of those people who avoid money, they attach their self-value to their circumstance. I would attach my self-value to me living with my parents. So I would be like, I'm unworthy of going to certain events because I still live with my parents. I felt like the fact that I lived with my parents or didn't have a car, I felt like it was just on me. That would hinder me from going to places, meeting new people, right? Meeting people that were financially better than me because I knew the crowd that I wanted to hang out in. I wouldn't go around them because I would have felt lesser than because of my circumstances. If you ever seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, he never let his circumstance mess with his self-worth. He was sleeping on restroom floors. He never let his circumstances disrupt his self-concept. So when I carried this pattern of avoiding my money, I also carried an external pattern of saying, oh, I'm not going to go to the event. I'm not going to go to the event because I don't have the right shoe. Or, oh, I'm not going to this event because I have to take the bus. Sometimes when we avoid money, we put a cap on what we could do or what we should be experiencing. There's certain jobs that I didn't take because I felt underqualified. For the external pattern of attaching myself worth to my circumstances, when it came down to jobs, I applied for laundromat positions or grocery store positions, knowing that I wanted to actually be in marketing departments, knowing that I actually wanted to have my own clients. But first, I had to kind of get out of seeing my own self as less than. I had to get out of seeing my own self as somebody who wasn't worthy of good paying jobs. I had to see myself as the person who has the clients. Internal patterns is what's going on in the inside while we are actively making the decision not to go to the event because we don't have the shoes, or getting jobs close to home because we don't feel like we're equipped for big city jobs. Cool. That sounds so big city living. I don't like that. How does this show up internally? So in mind, in heart, in body, those self-beliefs, what it's rooted in. Because I shaped my self-concept around numbers, I would always feel like I was less than, beneath, or inferior to people who looked like they had more money than me. It shows up as not taking the risk. It shows up as not going for the thing externally, but internally, it's basically me saying, yeah, I have low self-esteem. The fruit of the low self-esteem is the lack of money that I have, is me not making the amount of money that I want to have. This goes back to childhood. When somebody would get a higher grade, I felt less than. When somebody would run faster than me in the mile run, I felt less than. I felt like, oh my gosh, I have to do better. When I'm making $200,000 each month, there's going to be somebody making $1,000,000. So I had to make a conscious decision of, what am I shaping myself around? What am I basing my self-worth around? Okay, solutions. Acceptance. Acceptance by being aware. The fact that you're becoming aware of your financial situation, you're telling your money, hey, I'm going to be conscious about you now. I'm going to take you by the hand and I'm going to be conscious about how you're playing an active role in my life. I had to accept that I was at a job that was making me unhappy. I had to accept that I was living with my parents. I was using towels with holes in them. Every time I looked at it, it reminded me of how I don't have a certain amount of money in the bank account. Become so aware of where you are so that you can see the changes that needs to happen. I had to throw away the towels that were making me feel poor because all of these are screaming, I'm poor, you're poor, you live with your mom and dad. Start bringing in things that represent the version of you that is working at the job that you love. But if you continue to have things around you that represent poverty or poorness or old mindsets that you outgrew, you're constantly going to be reminded that, damn, I'm not where I want to be. So accept. Because with acceptance comes actions because you are aware. Go to the places. Go to the buckheads of your city. Go to a coffee shop on Michigan Avenue. Feel the frequency of how people are calm. Feel the frequency of how people are frantic when they are in those stores. I love going out to eat, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't have the finances to go out to eat. I had the finances for happy hour though. Those little things, putting myself in the environment that holds the frequency that I am leaning into because I no longer want to be the person who is nervous at the cash. Was that at the cash register when I'm in line, when I'm checking out? Apply for the job, even if you feel underqualified. Apply for the job and go in there and ace it. Or we disqualify ourselves from certain positions that if we had a conversation with the hiring manager or the CEO, we probably get it because guess what, honey? You're having a conversation with a human. If you talk up yourself enough, another human is going to see and relate to you. Sometimes you got to tell your story. Sometimes your story is your degree. Some people get qualified for things because of their degree. Other people get qualified because of their audacity. That's a bar. Do you know I printed out 10 resumes? Mind you, all the resumes are what? Online. Printed out 10 resumes. Of course, I was led to go to the airport. I was just like, all right, I'm going to go to the airport. Are you guys hiring? Yes, online. Are you guys hiring? Like certain people wouldn't give me the time of day. I was about to leave and then I looked up, literally, I looked up and seen Delta something offices. And I went in there and it was two men. They were both on the phone. The black man, I feel like his name was Michael. He said, may I help you? Yes, you may, Michael. Hi, my name is Ned. I'm looking for a job. I was nervous. That's exactly how I said it. Because I didn't know this was actually gonna work, right? Sometimes when you work the plan, you gonna be walking the plan and then you still have to show up presently in the plan, right? You be like, okay, this really worked. Okay, cool. So it shocked me that it was working. And it shocked me that how I envisioned it the day before, it was coming to pass. Cool. So Michael says, have a seat. Let me finish this phone call. Michael finished the phone call. Yeah, buddy. Michael saying, dang, you look like you would do good in the Delta Lounge. I said, yes, I will. He said, you ever heard of the Delta Lounge? Yes, I have. Yeah, yes, let's keep the conversation going. Remember, it's the audacity to have a conversation with another human being. I'm asking him, how long have you been working at Delta? He tells me. He's like, man, I wish you would have came last week because we have 20 applicants right now that we're running background checks on. But you got your resume? Pulled it out. Remember, I had 10 copies of a resume. I was surprised taking it out. I was like, yes. In his face, he was surprised. He looked at my resume. He was like, I'm gonna interview you right now. You gonna interview me right now? Michael interviewed me right then and there. Did I get the job? No. But that gave me a certain type of confidence to say, when I show up prepared, when I show up confident, when I show up with audacity, there's nothing in my way. Number two, money meditations. Money meditations. Money meditations. This was a little bit more, I guess, challenging for me because I had to get quiet with myself. I had to get quiet with myself and it felt uncomfortable. I had to imagine a different version of myself. So all those Bible verses, I'd be like, God, make me rich. He'd be like, I need you to match money, baby. Match money? What does that even mean? Match the identity of money. See yourself. See yourself already wearing the Todd Patrick clothing. See myself already wearing the Mason Margiela loafers. See myself already with the Coach wallet. You're gonna be like, she's so materialistic. I'm just into fashion and I love great craftsmanship. I love things that hold up a long time. I'm about to go to Buck Mason. I think it's called Buck Mason NC. They have oatmeal sweaters, like oatmeal color sweaters, and I love it. See yourself living in the apartment. Also, I'm talking about me and I'm trying to get through to you. Anyway, money meditations. Okay, I would literally go by my windowsill or go outside, and I use those places as a sanctuary. I'd be like, all right, God, help me to see myself as the person who loves looking at her money. Help me, give me the mindset. I'll tell my brain, give me the thoughts of the version of me that is not nervous when I go to checkout. I would hold the thought of me building my product and selling my product, and I just hold it there. And I would embrace how that feels. But the main thing was I became intentional about how money was making me feel. And then I was like, you know what? Let me meditate on this. Let me practice seeing myself in the skyscraper buildings, working with clients in the skyscraper buildings. Let me practice seeing myself wearing the shoes that cost $300. Let me practice seeing myself in these moments. And I didn't tell anybody that I was practicing seeing myself. I was just doing it, and it felt so uncomfortable. It felt so uncomfortable. The next external solution that helped me stop avoiding money, writing everything down. Before I actually made my spreadsheet and had money days to go over my money, that's when I go over my finances, money days. I just wrote everything down.